Oh, Sonic. How great a game you could have been. Your phenomenal visuals and fantastic musical score are offset only by your mediocre gameplay, terrible glitches, confusing hub world. Oh, wait. Sonic Generations? My mistake. That was a totally different review. This is Sonic Generations, a fast-paced, high-flying, nearly glitch-free platformer from Sega, and man, did they ever finally get it right. The first thing most people tend to notice about this game, and rather rightly so, are the visuals. If you're a longtime Sonic fan, this alone could be enough reason to warrant the purchase. All of the stages in this game look absolutely fantastic. The colors pop, the effects are great, and the on-screen display is bare bones and out of the way. Stages both recent and old are reimagined in an absolutely fantastic fashion, maintaining the look, feel, and themes of their original counterparts better than I could have thought possible. Really, the game footage speaks for itself in this regard. The only part of the game I really found to even have any slowdown was during Speed Highway. There were so many sirens flashing and glass breaking at one point that things got a little bit choppy as you ran down a building. Given that this is the only portion of the entire freaking game that had any sort of issues, this is very easily overlooked. Plus, being chased by a huge squadron of police hovering things is far too awesome of a sight to be changed. As a standard fare from Sega, the audio in this game is absolutely great. Even when they fail to put out something with any real salvageable gameplay, one thing this series has never lost is a fantastic soundtrack. This is especially true of Sonic Generations, whose remixes strike the perfect balance between being updated and taking a hold of that nostalgic value that the game's entire design centers around. On the topic of gameplay, I feel Sega's finally hit the nail on the head on this one. While there have been gripes being thrown about on the internet involving classic Sonic's controls, I'm of the opinion that it's the preconceived notions of a hard-to-please fanbase just getting angry that the conversion isn't exact. I've played Sonics 1 through 3 avidly, I've beaten all of them, and I still love the way classic Sonic controls in this game, especially if you use the modifiers to tweak him. Well, that's not to say there isn't merit to these complaints, but Sonic does handle somewhat differently than he does from the originals. That's not enough to be a real hindrance to the game in any fashion, though, because, if anything, he controls even more precisely than he used to. And, well, to be totally honest, it just feels really comfortable. Modern Sonic also handles surprisingly well, and for once he can actually take sharp corners with no issues, which is a really great feeling. It's a real thrill to be able to speed through the stages the first time without hitting all the walls everywhere. I could quite honestly say that the Hedgehog is at the top of his game here when it comes to controlling in 3D. There aren't even any camera problems. Another aspect of this game worth noting is the hub world. It's a very simple side-scrolling section that runs a progression of Sonic stages from classic to modern, in a timeline sort of feel. While at first this may seem kind of underwhelming, it's actually very well made and works better than one might imagine. It's nice to have a small hub in a timeline system that makes sense progression from level to level, and it's definitely preferable to a wide-open world with no map system and a confusing method of progression that can involve running around like a chicken with your head cut off until you find the right area to be in. In all honesty, the only conceivable downside to this game, if you enjoy Sonic games, is its longevity. There's no multiplayer, and a single run of the story will only last about maybe 3 hours the first time through. With games like Skyrim and Zelda having come out recently that have playtimes of near 100 hours, this can be a purchase that's a little hard to justify for some. However, all of the challenges and unlocks will easily take 10 to 15 hours if you try and get 100% completion, and sometimes even longer than that without a guide to get all the red rings. Not to mention the simple fact that this is a Sonic game, so there's a real joy to be taken from replaying the same stage to try and beat your own times, or those of friends, because this game has a built-in leaderboard function. I would say the last thing worth mentioning here is that the final boss for this game is absolutely atrocious. I won't spoil the battle for you, and I'm not going to show any footage of it, but just know that it's definitely not the best. The rest of the game, as well as all of the other bosses, are absolutely fantastic, but the final boss is just a freaking dud. If you're not sick of the phrase, "That's a homing attack, watch out, Sonic," by the end of this game, then God help you, because you have a higher tolerance for annoyance than I do. And if you've played this game all the way through to completion, you'll know exactly what I mean. Overall, Sonic Generations is a fantastically well-made game for fans and novices of the Sonic series alike. Veterans will find wonderfully reimagined stages to return to that retain all of the original charms of their respective games, with plenty of nostalgia on the side. Those new to the series will find that the Blue Hedgehog is at the top of his game here, especially considering his poor track record. Mileage with this game will depend entirely upon how much you enjoy the gameplay, because that's kind of what this entire game is. There's no cutscene, there's no elaborate story, just pure, speedy, platforming hedgehog goodness. If that doesn't sound like a good time to you, then this title is probably not the one to buy. My rating for this game is a thumbs up. Don't be scared of a purchase, but if the short length is a turnoff and you don't like the arcade style sort of go back through and try and get a better score, then rent it first to see what kind of replay value you think you would get out of it. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a like and leave a comment. I love hearing your feedback, and I've never done a review before, so if this is something you guys would like to see more of, then by all means, please leave a like.